Pay attention, there are three people with tight bodies in this elevator. They're transporting a man who's tied up in 5 pieces. They knew the man was very dangerous, but they didn't know he had a pocket knife in his hand. This man is the most famous agent in the world. Now he's trapped in a heavily guarded intelligence bureau. To escape, he first entered the elevator shaft and climbed up the cable with his bare hands to the ventilation duct level. Then, using the walkie-talkie he had just snatched from the guards, he easily mimicked the voice of the intelligence boss, fooling the guards of the entire building into going somewhere else to arrest himself. In this way, he managed to escape from the intelligence service. He is Ethan Hunt, the world's most famous, but non-existent agent. Since he was in his 30s, he's been on an impossible mission. What he does best isn't strange tricks, it's miracles. Now, at the age of 60, he is off to embark on a new story, Mission Impossible 7. We already know this must be a thrilling and breathtaking secret agent movie. So, this video will take you ahead to familiarize yourself with the first 10 movies. First to be introduced is Ethan Hunt. He's a top agent at Mission Impossible Intelligence, a man of extraordinary talent. The greater his ability, the greater his responsibility. The leader specializes in giving him impossible tasks. In terms of physical fitness, he surpasses 99% of humans. In terms of stature, while it's true that he can't beat Chinese Kung Fu, he has little problem beating Superman one-on-one, and it's very easy to beat Superman. And look at the marksmanship, it's both fast and accurate, very impressive now. But killing people with guns isn't what he's best at, because there's literally nothing he's not good at. He can read lips, pick locks, he has no problem skydiving, and jumping off buildings is even easier. Diving and racing and running like crazy. There's just nothing he's not good at. As the mission escalates, Ethan has an IMF team that is loaded with talent, with Ilsa, a female agent who is also very good at a variety of skills and extremely attractive. Her relationship with Ethan can go from rivalry to teammates, and the scenes where they fall in love with each other are always very exciting. There are 2 other resident male guests on the squad. Luther has known Ethan since 27 years ago, has watched him retire many times and rejoin the intelligence agency, and is Ethan's best friend and a hacker legend. The other is comedian Benny, who has known the Doctor for nearly 17 years, and although he's the funny one on the team, don't underestimate him. He's well versed in all types of gear and is a treasure tech boy. IMF squads have been using all sorts of top secret, highly sophisticated technology. First there's the face mask, and then there's the voice mimicry device that allows agents to unknowingly play other people. Then there are contact lenses hiding miniature computers, computers disguised as books, balloon drones, super absorbent gloves, bursting inflatable pads, and the classic gum bomb. With the recent emergence of remote-controlled cars, the Mission Impossible series of secret agent movies, 30 years in a row, what exactly is the point of it? First, of course, is the spy scene. It is usually done by going deeper into the enemy camp under a disguise and concealing the identity of the enemy. Then there are the battle of wits scenes, using various schemes to maneuver around the highly intelligent villain. The third is the infiltration scene, which uses all sorts of technology and camouflage to infiltrate the most heavily guarded place in the world. And starting with Part 4, the Mission Impossible series has escalated with a variety of thrilling, high-energy scenes. The hotly anticipated 7th installment remains the same, with Tom Cruise still being Ethan, and Ethan still having to accomplish the impossible. The 7th installment of Mission Impossible still maintains the series' high rating of over 8 out of 10, and it's also the #1 rated summer movie of the year. Of course, out of the exciting and thrilling footage, one of the most important factors in the success of the Mission Impossible series is the fact that the live action, it's a maximally realistic representation of every shot. Pay attention to this, it's a shot from Mission Impossible, Part 6, and it's live action. Tom Cruise had grabbed the rope and climbed up several times before the shot, but after coming down, he felt as if it was too easy, so he came up with a trick to make himself fall by accident. With that, he began filming scenes where he deliberately let go and fell. There were a couple times he didn't catch it underneath though, and it went right off the block. How much courage does it take to let go, even though you have a safety harness on you? Tom Cruise seems to be unafraid of heights. In the Mission Impossible series, he had to make the fear of heights patient's heart stop a few more times. The scene you see was filmed in real life, as there is a visual record of it. They built a mock-up set and simulated the force and speed of a falling train several times. and Tom Cruise himself was photographed waving from the roof of another train 3 years ago, suggesting that his fight scene on top of a speeding train was also filmed in real life. And that's not even the most dangerous thing about this movie, it's two other things. In fact, he had to complete a suicide leap, jumping off a cliff from a speeding motorcycle, unprotected, and having to be in a designated position to open his parachute. But if you are a few seconds late, or if you get stuck on a motorcycle and can't pull your parachute, you will die. Fortunately, he managed to land. To achieve the desired results, each day Tom Cruise practiced 30 jumps until he had made 500 parachute jumps and repeated 13,000 motorcycle jumps. Even just the scene where he fell off the cliff on the day of filming, he filmed it 6 times. Tom Cruise has made several skydives in the past Mission Impossible series. The previous most thrilling was his jump from 7,600 meters at 320 kilometers per hour in Mission Impossible 6, where he didn't open his parachute until he was only 600 meters above the ground. This is the black basket jump technique used by military special forces to drop from ultra-high altitude, then open the parachute at ultra-low altitude to land as fast as possible. Tom Cruise is the first actor in history to actually do this opening of his umbrella on camera. He repeated the scene 106 times. By the latest installment of the Mission Impossible series, he wanted to make skydiving even more thrilling. So Tom Cruise learned to fly by speed parachute. He needed to glide at high speeds over mountain ridges while spiraling and swinging down in all sorts of unknown winds to get infinitely closer to the Rocky Mountains. The action looks perfect, but the risk factor is extremely high. Once you brush against a rock, you'll be pulverized, not to mention having to land with precision at over 80 kilometers per hour to the finish line. These challenges made the director nervous for him. It was definitely the most dangerous thing they had tried so far. And in the 4th installment of Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise climbed the Burj Dubai like Spider-Man. Tom Cruise used only safety ropes as protection during the parkour shoot on the world's tallest building, more than 800 meters above ground. He connected the steel cables and pulleys laid on the surface of the building. Filming of the 3rd installment of Mission Impossible was set in Shanghai. Tom Cruise takes a leap of faith on the Zhongning mansion, pulling a sling on his body as he plummets down, and ends up swinging on a swing across the street to the opposite side of the building. This scene was shot with a green screen set, but the jumps are all real. Tom Cruise fixed the wigwam and did the whole jumping stunt himself. And as early as the opening scene of Mission Impossible Part 2, Tom Cruise is rock climbing with his bare hands between cliff faces. Tom Cruise only had 2 stunt doubles with him during the shoot and did most of the action himself. The effect of jumping on high cliffs and hanging from them with one hand is also extremely difficult to replicate, despite the safety ropes. From 1996 to the present day, an era of unparalleled special effects technology, Tom Cruise has also stuck almost stubbornly to live action. With every movie he makes, he specializes in new skills. Mission Impossible, Part 6, spent 12 days getting his helicopter pilot's license, and Mission Impossible, Part 5, was when he received another 192 hours of professional freediving training, where he could hold his breath shut for nearly 6 minutes, and got his AIDA diving certification. While filming Top Gun, he obtained a pilot's license and an extra-class pilot's license. And for every thrilling live-action shot, he prepares everything in advance. For example, for the Burj Dubai facade climb in the Mission Impossible series, he climbed for months beforehand in a mock-up hut he had set up near his home first. He also used strong lights and fans to simulate the effects of sand and heat that would be found in Dubai. To acclimatize himself to the dangers of that environment for himself, he said something that stuck with me: "Don't be careful, be confident." This statement is full of love, but also contains reason and caution. And in Mission Impossible 7, Tom Cruise continues the challenge by achieving what has become the most massive stunt in movie history, the leap of faith. Instead of utilizing keying techniques, the actual filming of the car jumping off a 1,200-meter cliff was used. And behind this leap of faith was never simply a matter of one man's guts, but is rigorously calculated and practiced as a rocket launch. For this one shot, Tom Cruise first trained for a year in spot jumping. For a while, he was skydiving 30 times a day, studying various poses and camera angles. After 500 practice jumps, he was familiar enough with free fall to dance in the air, and then it was time to practice riding a motorcycle. They first built a low motorcycle track for Tom Cruise to ride over, so that he could familiarize himself with the speed, the feeling of flying more than 20 meters into the air and still have something to stay. With such cycling jumps, he jumped more than 13,000 times. In the third step, they built a track in their old house, exactly like the one they filmed, for Tom Cruise to practice on. To save the motorcycles, they dug a long pit in front of the track and covered it with extra thick cardboard boxes. During Tom Cruise's training, they held him by an extra long cable so that every time he disengaged from the motorcycle, he would be suspended. As he practiced his jumps, they also brought in a physicist to calculate mathematical models for him in order to figure out the best angle for the slope. He carries a locator chip with him on every jump, allowing each trajectory to be recorded and used to keep track of his three-dimensional position at every moment. In recording speed, wind, altitude, and offhand time, the continuous data is integrated as a basic operating guide for the leap of faith and a follow guide for the drone camera. Finally, it's really just field practice. The actual location is a 1,200-meter cliff in Norway. Senior engineers have spent months building this perfect ramp. Of course, it's not like you just get in the car and jump right in as soon as you arrive. First of all, Tom Cruise wants to feel the environment and weather here, so he first jumps from the helicopter a few times according to the position where he will fall down when he arrives. To feel the feeling of the geography, the feeling of the valley's stone wall pressing on him, the feeling of the sharp push, the feeling of the dampness of the clouds, and so on. He familiarized himself with the terrain and the weather, so he could prepare for the actual shooting. Still, Tom Cruise is very nervous before he starts. Having climbed rocks, climbed the Burj Dubai, and tried low-level skydiving, he still gets nervous. After all, there must not be a single accident next. You can't start off this runway. You can't forget to take off your hands for the leap. You can't get hit by a motorcycle for the fall, and you can't open your parachute too early or too late. It's the biggest live-action stunt show in the history of the hit Mission Impossible 7. Live action has long been the gold standard for the Mission Impossible series, and all of the above is their secret sauce. Like scientific research, professional filmmaking doesn't rely on a lone voice or lazy flim-flam, but rather breaks down a huge goal into a million little puzzles. One by one, you train to familiarize yourself with it and grasp every detail to ensure maximum safety as well as perfection in the end. Neither the actors nor the characters have superpowers, except that they are really experienced. After reading this, I realized, why do Tom Cruise and the director always tell each other, don't be careful, be professional? Because majors are really cool.